The epic journey of Joseph, from dreamer to Egyptian leader. Once upon a time there was a young guy named Joseph. He was one of 12 sons in a big, bustling family. And let's just say he was his dad's favorite. His father, Jacob, wasn't subtle about it either. He gave Joseph this flashy, colorful coat that screamed, "favorite child." Now, imagine being one of Joseph's brothers, watching him walk around in that bright coat every day, a constant reminder that, yep, he was the golden child. It didn't take long for jealousy to bubble up. But Joseph didn't help his case either. He had big dreams. Literally. He would tell his brothers about these dreams he had, where he was the star, and they were all bowing down to him. Naturally, this only made things worse. His brothers were like, "Really, Joseph? You think we're going to bow down to you?" It was the last straw for them. They were done with Joseph and his dreams. Then came the day that would change everything. Joseph's dad sent him to check on his brothers who were working far from home. As he approached, his brothers saw him coming and quickly came up with a plan. "Here comes the dreamer," they sneered. In a rush of anger, they grabbed him, tore off his prized coat, and threw him into an empty pit. Just like that, Joseph went from being the family favorite to being a captive in a dark, lonely pit. But they didn't leave him there. Soon after, some traders passed by on their way to Egypt, and the brothers decided to sell Joseph to them. They pocketed a few silver coins and thought they were done with him for good. Imagine Joseph's shock, chained and being dragged away from everything he knew, wondering if he'd ever see his family again. It was the ultimate betrayal. When he arrived in Egypt, Joseph was sold as a slave to a man named Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's top officials. Life had taken a dark turn, but Joseph held on to his faith. He worked hard, determined to make the best of his situation, and over time, Potiphar saw Joseph's dedication and trusted him to run his household. Joseph had gone from being in a pit to managing a powerful man's house. But his troubles weren't over. Potiphar's wife noticed Joseph and tried to get him into trouble. When Joseph resisted, she accused him of something he didn't do, and he was thrown into prison. Just when things seemed to be looking up, Joseph found himself in a dark, cold cell. Alone again. Yet, even in prison, Joseph's character stood out. The guards noticed his integrity, and soon enough he was put in charge of the other prisoners. It was there that Joseph met two of Pharaoh's officials, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker. One night, they each had strange dreams, and Joseph, still holding on to his gift of interpreting dreams, offered to help. He told the cupbearer that his dream meant he'd be restored to his position, and the baker, unfortunately, learned his dream meant he'd meet a sad end. Both dreams came true, just as Joseph had said. Before the cupbearer left, Joseph asked him to remember him and mention his name to Pharaoh. But as soon as he was free, the cupbearer forgot all about Joseph. 2 long years passed. Then, one day, Pharaoh himself had a series of dreams that no one could interpret. Suddenly, the cupbearer remembered Joseph and told Pharaoh about this prisoner with a remarkable gift. Joseph was quickly brought before Pharaoh, and Pharaoh explained his dreams. 7 healthy cows were devoured by 7 sickly cows, and 7 full heads of grain were swallowed by 7 thin ones. With wisdom and humility, Joseph told Pharaoh, "Your dreams are a warning. Egypt will have 7 years of abundant harvest, but after that, there will be 7 years of severe famine." But Joseph didn't stop there. He suggested a plan to store food during the plentiful years to prepare for the famine. Pharaoh was impressed. In fact, he was blown away by Joseph's insight and confidence, and right then and there, he appointed Joseph as his second-in-command over all of Egypt. Joseph, once a slave and a prisoner, was now in charge of the entire nation's survival plan. Under Joseph's leadership, Egypt thrived. They stored away grain and food during the good years, and when the famine hit, they had enough to feed not only the Egyptians but also people from neighboring lands. And here's where the story takes an incredible twist. One day, a group of men came from Canaan, desperate for food. It was Joseph's brothers, though they didn't recognize him. But Joseph knew exactly who they were. He could have easily used his power to take revenge, to make them pay for all they had put him through. But instead, he decided to test them, to see if they had changed. In a tense reunion, Joseph finally revealed himself. "I am Joseph," he said, as his brothers stood in stunned silence. Fear filled their eyes, but Joseph reassured them with unexpected kindness. "What you meant for harm, God meant for good," he said, forgiving them and inviting his entire family to come live in Egypt, where they would be safe from the famine. So, Joseph's journey, from a naive teenager with big dreams to a slave in a foreign land, to the highest-ranking official in Egypt, isn't just an ancient story. It's a powerful reminder that life may take unexpected turns, people may hurt or betray us, but God can turn even our hardest trials into blessings. Joseph went from the pit to the palace, from rejected to revered, all because he held on to his faith, his resilience, and his integrity. His story speaks across generations, showing us that even when life doesn't go the way we expect, our challenges can lead to growth, and our darkest moments can open doors to new beginnings.